It is a beautiful day, and thanks for joining me on Dead End Street. I'm not proud of this, but I'm going to be honest about this. There are about 200, 300 reasons that Carol cannot park her car in her garage, and I am responsible for basically all of them. There's reasons, not excuses, but that's still not good enough. It's probably not right to be bringing new stuff into this before I do something about it all. The spread has gotten way, way, way out of hand. So it's great to have gathered all this stuff. And I thought it was really going to be great on December the 6th last year, 2025, when I thought my shed for the Olytic property was going to be delivered and I was going to set up a workshop down there closer to Mom. We're on the verge of maybe 6 months later finally getting it set up. Now, that will just be probably the site prep. It probably won't be delivered until after that. So, the title for today, Hold, Please, is what I've been on for well over 6 months, but definitely these last 6 months. And there's so many projects that I'm kind of backed up on, in large part because I do not have a nice, flat, large workspace. I'm going to try to change that today. Lightweight also. Just for free on the side, does anybody remember from a video? Excuse me, I mean, it must have been 3 years ago. Probably one of the first things I did. I got these weights at Restore. I had no idea really what to do with them. I found later they were for something specific, like for the hose on a sink where you have the little spray handle that you can pull up, and this is a counterweight that helps pull it back down. Each of these three things, and I decided just get something to put them together. So I got them together like this, and they've literally been sitting on the workbench for 3 years. What do I do with it? Well, guess what? This is kind of cool, actually. The tripod has a little hook for a weight to help keep it stable, like in wind or whatever. And although I don't know that I'm ever really going to need that for that, it works perfectly for it. Wow. So with that pleasant, unexpected surprise in mind, I'm hoping that some of this stuff that I have salvaged, some of it months or even years back, might be useful for a little project that I have in mind here. I want to make a table, and I have these pickets, and man, this stuff is amazing. It smells exactly like Ticonderoga #2 pencils when it's run through the planer. So maybe pencils are made out of cedar, I guess, huh? Man, it really smells good. Anyway, going to just do a little bit of plane work on this and then make a table like a table that I made for Evergreen when I worked there. It's been about almost 3 years now that I made this table, and I want to try and do one for myself so that I can set it up for like big glue ups. A bunch of the stuff in the garage has just been waiting, not the least of which for glue ups. And man, it'd be so great if I could get some of this stuff made into something and get it at least up out of the way. Let's see how that goes today. Let's see how a hyper fast time-lapse video does here. Try to get all of these through, just cleaned up a touch. Don't want to take a lot of thickness off of them. Get these through and get them laid out for a table. Let's see how that goes. Hey, by the way, thanks for watching. I'm blessed and grateful. Kind of sweating still. It's a beautiful day, but Thanks for watching. And there's the general idea. These are the bottom sides, the ugly sides, because I want to set up cross pieces. But I've got about 54 inches this way and 70 this way. So about a little over 5.5 feet here and a little over 4.5 here. Now I put the two most ragged edges on the outside. That I may trim off, and this has got a little curl on it that I may trim off as well. I might run them all through the table saw just to take a hair off to get a good straight line. But that is where we're at now. Generally speaking, this is the idea. Some cross pieces to try and make sure that it doesn't sag too much. May have to do some runners on the sides, so I've got some extra pieces over here. I'm going to go ahead and put them through the planer too. I'm always trying to find something to do with these stringers off the skids. Just happen to have two that are pretty good here. I'm going to try to level them up, and they're not too heavy. That's the other important factor here, because this thing is going to be very unwieldy if I let it get too heavy. Well, that's the concept. Not proof of concept yet, unfortunately, but it is the concept. Imagine, if you will, because I'm not sure I can put it into words, just how happy I am to actually be putting some of these tools that have been sitting around for a year or more, putting them to work on an actual project. It really isn't anything, of course, but sadly enough, it's a big thing for me. And wow, I am blessed and grateful. It might not be immediately obvious, but one of the things I've been trying to do over the last month is actually have the projects be building some kind of consistent momentum. They have something to do with the next thing that I'm doing. I'm really glad I get to get the clamps out here, because this is one of the things I specifically had in mind to do with them, and I'm eager to see how this turns out. Let me get them transferred over and start to pack them in, and then we'll see where we go from there. Oh, those beautiful clamps. This is not perfect. Well, it's not going to be perfect, but I'm getting a little bit of a lift up in the back because it's over pressure here. So I need to get these down, and then I'll be able, actually, when I finish up, I want to saw off right on this line. So I want this to be a squared up line. I think I've got that there. This is, yeah, this can come in about another inch. Okay. Because the deck of my saw needs to cut off at 4 inches. Now that I think about it, yeah, no, that's good. That'll work. Okay, 4 inches. So it's possible that the brad nailer, I got 1 1/4 inch brad nails. Hopefully I was shouting loud enough there. Got 1 1/4 inch brad nails, so I'm going to run them through this, and then I'll flip it over and put actual screws in, but I also want to lay some glue down. So let's see what we got here. think this will help. For good or ill, here we go. And it'd be nice if it's not a fail, but I can deal with it. I can live with it if it is, I guess. I was initially thinking I would do this with sawhorses, and the wood I would try to make some slots where the sawhorse top of the triangle would fit kind of tightly and nicely. Then I remembered I had these little step ladders. I got, you know, inexpensively, really, 23 bucks or something like that, less than 25 a piece. And these are so much better, especially because among other projects I need to do, I need to make finally the supposed wedding gift for my oldest daughter and her husband William. I'm supposed to be making them cornhole boards, but I really didn't have a place to like put a 4x2 plus an angle, so it really needs to be like 5 feet. So anyway, this is about 6 feet, and it's about almost 4.5 feet across. That is a space where I can work on cornhole boards, among other things. Now, here's the reason I didn't put screws in the whole way, all the way across from the bottom, because I can use my finger. You can see right here when it refocuses, this is one spot where there's an obvious gap. And what I want to do is when I flip it, I want to screw it from the top to try and get it as flush as possible, and then I can sand it down or whatever. It doesn't have to be perfect, of course, but I like to get it as best I can. I think this is still going to be light enough, and these aluminum stands that they're on, these aluminum stands are super light and very easy to pack. Probably I could get this on top and lash it to the cargo carrier on top of the 4Runner. But anyway, workspace. Let's see if, now that I've, you know, delayed long enough, let's see if this idea is going to work. Now it's been a pretty day. It's starting to cool down finally. But even at its worst, it wasn't terribly hot. And that is the prettier side. I ran it through a couple of times on each side through the thicknesser, and then ran the tops again one more time. And I may do a little bit more sanding, but actually that's fairly smooth. I know there are some gaps, but it's fairly smooth. And they got fairly tight together with the clamps. That was the whole goal of the clamps. All right, let me inspect this and then we'll try to finish up. Looking across, you got a bit of a problem child here on the end. You kind of got a rise there. There's another high spot here, another one here, and that's why I went ahead and put some cross pieces in towards the middle, because I figured I was going to need to get those down a little bit more. Okay, I'm actually going to get the countersink drills out, I believe, because I'd like for these to all sit just under flush so that I can sand it a bit. It seems fairly solid. I hope that when I'm done here it'll be even more so. Okay, turns out the factory setting for this was just about perfect. So I'm gonna cut some holes and try to get everything to go as flat as it will go for salvaged, rescued, deconstructed gate pickets. It's worth a try. Well, much of the driveway looks like a battleground debris field right now. But, as envisioned, this pretty much came out the way I was hoping. There's still a few little spots that are a little high, like here, and I think that's just the way it's going to be. Wow, these clamps really did a treat. Really, really glad that worked out so well. Glad that I bought some salvage screws at Habitat for Humanity Restore. I think this is where I got these. Glad that the Porter Cable equipment is still going strong after grief. I think it might be 20 years, maybe more. Glad that the even though I hit one nail with the thicknesser, I think it was still working really well. And glad that I remembered that I had these aluminum platforms, because I think they're going to make a real stable base for this. Let's see. Oh yeah. The day is almost done, starting to get towards sunset. I'm almost done. I know that's for sure. Not sunsetting quite yet, but close enough. Ready to cool off, get something to eat, and ready to set this table up tomorrow for some videos I hope that we'll be seeing in the next couple of weeks. Sure do appreciate you watching. Would love to have any comments. Positive, negative, plus, minus, double plus good, double plus ungood, whatever Orwellian thought moves you. In the meantime, I'm blessed and grateful, trusting with you that we can set goals, pursue them, sometimes even achieve them. Thanks for watching.